great. First of all, I want to thank you guys for coming. This is the only second time that I've been able to host, so I'm so excited. And this is one of my new friends, Kimberly, which I just think she's amazing. So I hope you guys follow her on LinkedIn and Twitter too, because she's got brilliant things to say. That's why I asked her to come join us. And of course, I want to make sure that I thank Provar because they did sponsor this. They have been making Salesforce testing easy for nearly a decade. And one of the things I love about working for them is they're all about community and continuous learning, which is why they let us host this space. I know that it's by far one of my favorite parts of this job. Today, we're going to be talking with Kimberly. She's a UX researcher and test consultant for, how do we say this? Politie Nederland?
the Dutch police.
Okay.
Politie Dutch police, yeah.
Oh, I was so close. She spent the last decade sharing her knowledge and expertise for continuous improving user experience and accessibility. Something that I'm just starting to dabble into, and it's your fault.
Yes, I inspired another soul. Nice.
In addition to having completed your undergraduate at the Cognitive Artificial Intelligence at Utrecht University, you've also gotten a master's in science and human media interaction, right?
Yeah, true.
What was that like? Master's? Oof, that's scary.
Well, it was the least technical master, so it was great.
I think it sounds awesome. And I know you have 2 young boys that I believe you said were already in bed.
Yeah, they just got to bed, so hopefully I don't talk too loud and they will sleep through.
I love it. Well, Kimberly, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, so, I'll let you have the floor.
Thanks. Welcome, everyone. I'm so happy to see so many people, and thank you so much, Provar and Tara, to have me at this meetup. I met Tara at another conference a couple of weeks ago, and she asked me to come and speak here and how do you say, spread the word on UX testing. We don't have a lot of time. I can just start, right? You don't have any other things to tell?
Well,
okay, so
just real fast, Tara, I know that there was a big 1 or 2 pre-submitted questions from people that weren't able to attend. I just want to make sure we cover just those really fast. And then anything else, please drop questions in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, do you want to do those questions first, huh?
I don't know. Yeah, you do? Okay, let's hear them then.
Okay. Well, let me see. The very first question that I got was for our audience, can you share why UX testing is essential for Agile teams?
Yeah, that's a good question because that starts at the beginning. That's very good. So I actually want to tell you why, maybe I should just answer the question. Why UX testing is essential for Agile teams? Well, as a tester in an Agile team, you have a lot to do. You have to test the functionality because that's that's expected from you. But I have noticed that if you only focus on the functionality too much, you forget the core of why you are making this application. So functionality, of course, it's important, but also think about the person, the user, the person who's going to use it and what their needs are. So yeah, that's why it is important, because it could be that, oh, I have a nice picture. Let me show you the picture. But the question was why it is important, right? I have so much to say. I have a good picture that will show you why it is important. It's also really funny. Who knows this picture already? Yeah, nice. So you can have a perfectly working application. The business says, yeah, you have your mobile, you have these animals, and it will turn around, will make music. Very cool. That's just what the user need. And some stakeholder might say, yeah, wow, this is so perfect. But the user who's going to use it is like, why am I looking at this, the bottom of these animals? So yeah, that's actually sums up why it is important. You will miss the core of why you're doing it if you don't take it into account early in the process.
I absolutely love that picture. I think that it speaks a million words.
Me too. I should not take all credit because I have it from a colleague of mine who showed me that last week, and I was like, yeah, of course, I knew this picture, but yeah, it's good. So,
All right, here's your second question. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. How would you implement any UX testing at the requirements definition and the design phase?
Yeah, the requirements and the design phase. Yeah, well then is it testing then, or is it the requirements phase? Yeah, I think of course UX is important at the beginning of the development of the product. So when you are thinking about building a product, already the UX is important because you should know, is there a need for my product? And that is a question you should ask, and you should actually already, before you have built anything, check the idea with users already. Like, is this something you would use? Because you could be really excited about it, but there could be actually no need for it. Or maybe there's something similar already there. But in the requirements phase, when you already have your idea and you're going to set the requirements, yeah, actually, that's the perfect time to use personas. So I don't know if everybody here is knows what personas are, but I don't see all the faces. So I'll just tell you shortly, personas are fictional people. So they are based, of course, on your target group. And for example, if your target group is everyone, it could be a public website. You should make personas of each target group. So men, women, children, older people, younger people. Accessibility personas of somebody who may be colorblind or even using assistive software to get to your application. And I think that's important to have those upfront, know who you're developing your application for. So in the requirements phase, you could think about the requirements and make the user stories for them. Yeah, and the design phase actually is the same. It's also before you have built anything. And of course, design should be UX design. And then you think about who is the person, make the persona, and think about the journey they will be making through your application and when they will be coming across your application. Yeah, and think about how they will interact with it, what they need.
I love that. I think there's a lot of aspects that you mentioned in there that easily get forgotten, right? Colorblind or assistive tech. If you're not using it every day, you forget about it. And I think I love the list that you gave there.
There's also World Accessibility Day. I don't know actually when it is, if it's already there, but you should Google it. And on World Accessibility Day, there's a challenge for to only 10 minutes not use your mouse, for example. And this is so hard. You're at work, you really have to finish your work. And you just try not to use your mouse. I lasted only like 2 seconds because it's so difficult. But yeah, it really brings you close to how these people have to, of course, navigate the computer every day. And of course, they're used to it. But still, there's so many things they can't do, and you just don't have access to all the applications we have access to. It's terrible, actually.
I think that's really cool. I know I worked for a job once where they actually took away our mouse for a while. And that was, it's a challenge.
Nice. Yeah. How did you find, sorry, now to interview you, but how did you manage?
Slowly. It's a lot harder than I anticipated. I thought, I know my keyboard shortcuts, but it's amazing how many times you reach over without even thinking about it. Right, Kimberly, how do you measure UX success? Are there metrics that you use?
Yeah, it's you can measure. UX is of course very broad, right? It's user experience, and it consists of different parts. So you can say usability or accessibility or a lot of other abilities. For usability, when you do, for example, usability testing, So then you really take a user and maybe show them a prototype or show them a paper prototype. It doesn't have to be very high fidelity, but then you can really measure how many clicks it takes, for example, to get somewhere, or how long it takes for them to finish the task. So you give them the prototype and you ask them, hey, order a book on this web shop. And then you can measure how long does it take them to find a book and order it, for example. So those are really exact black and white metrics you can use. And also there are also emotions. So those are more difficult to measure. That's more the frustration. How many times did they slam their laptops against the wall? Or they just, you see it in their face, right? Oh, I don't understand this. And that's also something you should measure. And yeah, measure the journey. Let me see what else. Apart from usability testing, of course. Yeah, you also have yeah, at the end of the cycle, that's when you can measure. First, you need your hypotheses, of course. So I think this will work, and then you measure it in your usability test, or you can measure it at the end. So, but I also put in the abstract, right, at the end phase when the product is already in production. You can have Google Analytics, or you can ask feedback, like was the information on this page useful? You see it a lot on those on websites, or just a button where you can give feedback on how do you like it, this website. This is also something you can measure. Do you get a lot of feedback, negative feedback or positive feedback on different parts of the application?
I love that. I can only imagine how hard it is. Do you pull in user groups then to try to measure like emotive responses?
Yeah, I do that with usability testing. So that's the most important part in usability testing. Try not to have an interview with them, but really give them a task, like, for example, ordering that book, and sit a little bit away so they don't ask you the entire time, hey, how should I order this book? But just ask them to think out loud and ask them, what do you see on the page? And what would you do if I wasn't here to order this book? And then really look at these facial expressions. And then they will say, well, I see a button here. It says collection. So I guess it's a collection, or it says something else. I don't know if that's a collection, but I will click it and check it out. So then you may see, hey, maybe this name on this button is that very clear. So yeah, you can hear them and you can see that they're frowning or maybe smiling. Oh, that's so nice. It's so easy. Then you have already the perfect UX.
I like that. That's the dream, right?
Yeah.
The smiles on
You want them to smile all the time. It's just so great.
I know that the follow-up question that we had on here is one that speaks very close to me, having been a tester for so long. It says, I've raised UX issues from my testing, and they always get pushed to the bottom of the backlog in favor of more pressing bug fixes. So how do you make it sound or present those bugs to where they're a little bit more important and stay at the top of the backlog?
Yeah, that is reality. Unfortunately, I have had that as well. I have had this frustration as well. So when I started out as a tester in 2014, yeah, I had this master in interaction design, so I knew about UX. And yeah, when you say, hey, this is not very clear, maybe yeah, we can do it differently. They say, oh, but it works. We have so many other things to do right now. It's nice to have. Let's put it on the bottom of the backlog. And you hear this so many times, and after a while you say, oh, and you'll think by yourself, oh, they won't put it on top of the backlog, I won't even say it. But don't let this happen to you. Just keep being the annoying person on the team and keep saying these things, because it will come in their head eventually, or they will say, okay, maybe we should give her this. So then at least it might be that they implement one of your things. But I think more importantly is inform your colleagues, inform your project manager, inform the people around you the importance of UX. And there are so many sources. So if you Google ROI of UX, you see already so many different numbers. And also you might know that that graph, but the later you find the bugs, the more expensive it is to fix. So if you show them also a graph like that or give a presentation, yeah, they should know it, right? They should know that sometimes, and also you can plot your findings on maybe with the product owner, you can plot them on the impact effort matrix, right? So you could say, look, this is a quick win. It's only this small and it can have such a big effect. Why not? That's also something you could do, that at least do the quick wins. So yeah, but I think informing them and being annoying is very important. Just keep pushing.
I love that. I love
sorry.
annoying with kindness, right?
Yeah, but kind. Yeah, with a bit of smile, and the tiara will always help. I also have one extra thing I was thinking about. You could also do guerrilla usability testing. So you don't need the expensive room with the two-way mirror glass and the mouse clicks and eye tracking. You can just go with your application to someone on the street or a colleague or what else, not a colleague who's working on the application, but someone else, and invite your manager to sit in that session. It will only take like half an hour or shorter, and make them see that people who use the application will not behave the way you think they will behave. So you will have so many insights in only half an hour with one person. And usability testing, of course, you should do it 5 people, but you will gain so many insights if you can just convince them just to have at least 1 or 2 or maybe 3 people they can sit in and look at, or record it and send it to them with the findings. Yeah, I think that will convince them.
And Tara, sorry, there's a wonderful lawnmower next to me, so I'll make this very brief.
I don't hear it.
Yeah.
No, I don't hear it either. You're good.
I just wanted to open up too I know these sessions go by so quickly, so we also wanted this to be a conversation, and I see some people here vibing. Wondering if anyone has any questions live for Kimberly and her expertise. And I see Sabrina, we see you.
Hi, I just wanted to ask if you could give an example of when you had to advocate for something UX to a team and you successfully made it to the other side, I guess.
I'm thinking, because yeah, what I already said, I gave a lot of these bugs, and finally you saw, hey, that's not being picked up. But I do know that someone on the team, it wasn't me, was very well informed about accessibility. And I should say we were working at the Dutch National Railway, so the public transport. So their accessibility, of course, is very high on the agenda, because, or should be very high on the agenda, because people who are blind, for example, they cannot go by car. But this person always was saying the things over and over again, and people found him actually really annoying. But for example, there was a banner on a special holiday in the Netherlands, and the colors were yellow or orange, because orange, Dutch, the Dutch natural color, orange, and white text on it. And they already implemented, it was already in production, and he said, yeah, you cannot do this, it's not accessible. Yellow, orange and white, the contrast, you can measure it with a simple tool, and then you can see it's not accessible, and they changed it. So this is something that inspired me. Like, he was annoying, everybody thought actually he was annoying, was, oh, I hope he won't hear that we're doing this, but he got the success. So yeah, that's something that inspired me. And I can't really say for myself, because I have been in so many different companies in the past 8 years. And when I saw that UX wasn't very high on the agenda, I'm in outsourcing, then I just go to another to another client, and finally I found my place. Yeah, it's really like that. I found my place, and I always wanted to work at the Dutch police, because I knew that their UX was very high on the agenda. They won the best website of the year like 3 times in a row, and I thought, that's where I want to be. I want to be where they know the value of UX. So that was how I took it, my goal, to come there where they know the value already.
Hi, I have a question. How do you know which company I mean, like if you're actually looking for a job, how can you tell ahead of time that they actually place value on UX and not after you went there and then you're like shocked finding out?
That's a very good question, because they don't have on their website like UX maturity, you know. But I think what will give you an indication is if there are UX designers working for that company. So you can look on LinkedIn and look who works for the company, and then you will see different roles, and you might see UX designers. So if there are UX designers there, the chances are that they know what UX is and they invest money in it. And of course, you can also ask someone who is working there, connect them on LinkedIn, and just ask them how they like working there. So just find someone within the company and talk to them about it. That's what I would do.
I like that. I'm always willing to make a new connection on LinkedIn. So that's usually my go-to is, hey, you work here. I have a question.
Yeah, why not?
I have a question, sorry, because I'm really excited about this and I know Tara's hosting. I wanted to ask a little bit more about, can you talk about like, God bless this lawnmower. I want to know a little bit more. We talked about this in the beginning of the abstract, right? When we're talking about testing and, you know, if UX design takes place prior to the development phase, then why does UX testing take place after the product is already built, right? And I think a lot of people, in the same way we talk about shifting left in our software unit test automation, a lot of people don't fully understand that concept. So I'm wondering if you could clarify a little bit for anyone on this call who's not familiar.
Yeah, sure. Well, actually, I already said it a little bit, right? With this pyramid, how do you say that? The graph about the earlier you test. So that's actually shifting left in the process. So of course you have a process of the start. I already touched upon this a little bit. The start, an idea of an application, building the requirements and asking how are we going to make it, to the real development phase, and then it's in production. So you have I don't know what it's in English actually, but we have a street, top street on development, acceptance, production. That's the way it goes in development. And the earlier you test, so left of this street of the beginning of the development, the earlier you test, the cheaper it is to fix these bugs. So for example, if you are in production and you see, oh, actually something is not right on this page, maybe it's even a spelling mistake or just something that should be entirely built differently, you have to go all the way back to development. They have to put it on their backlog. They have to put it in the sprint. They have to refine everything. They have to build it. They have to test it. And then it has to go back to production. And then you get a feedback. So yeah, it's too late. When you're in the refinement before you start building, or maybe earlier, and you find, hey, actually, are we going right with this? Maybe check with the user and they will say, yeah, I wouldn't use this button, I wouldn't use this functionality, but I would rather you do this. Then, hey, you can switch strategies and do something else. And it's not even built yet. So you can first refine it and then develop, and then it will go in production and it will be a better suited product. So it's it's more costly if you, it's better if you do it earlier, because then it's cheaper.
It's always about the money, right?
Of course.
Sorry, thank you for that. Thanks, Tara.
Yeah.
No, I love that question. I know that's one of the reasons that I advocate for that shift left mentality and bringing testers in earlier, is for the exact same reason. It's, if it gets all the way to the end, it's too late.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions? Colin, I'm going to pick on you since I know you.
Oh, Colin is not there. I can also just, we only have like 4 minutes left, but I hope everybody knows a little bit the core of this meeting, because we just started into the question and I didn't even really, how do you say it? Start slowly, like why are we actually here and why did I start doing UX testing? So I hope that is this clear. And if it's not, you can ask.
I love this conversation. I know it goes so quickly.
Yeah.
I want to go back. I know you've touched on this a little bit more, but what's the #1 piece of advice, and people who ask a little bit more about advocating for this, right, with the senior leadership, because I think part of it, right, we can bring the data, we can talk about numbers, but what's one piece of advice to really tell a story and a sense of urgency so the C-suite really understands?
Yeah, difficult. One piece of advice. Yeah, for me, UX testing is so logical that we do it for a user. So why not take this user into account in every stage of the process? So one piece of advice is maybe this, that you when you see these findings, when you see that actually they are not they're maybe going the wrong direction, or they are having these little usability mistakes that could be just even better, just make the experience just a little better, and not just, hey, you have a working product, but not a product that people love to use and they would want to come back. And maybe that's something you should you should make clear to your company. People should be able to come back, and also show them the better UX. if there are applications that you're like, oh, this is so great. For example, my banking application, it's so easy. Just transfer something, just have a QR code and do something so quickly. Just press your phone against the pin machine just to pay. I think it's so easy and accessible. You don't have to think when you're using it. And that's also one tip that I really love. Don't make your users think too much. Just make it so easy for them that they just know what to do. When they see your website, you just know, oh, I have to press this button, I have to do that. And that's, find that sweet spot of your application that makes the flow for the user go perfectly.
I love that.
And advocate that to your managers. Yeah.
Thank you. That was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, too.
Hi, Kimberly. So question about your position here. So as a former enterprise delivery lead for Salesforce engagements, I'm curious, do you find that the UX teams are not being leveraged enough in the discovery process when those customer journeys are being defined for the user experiences?
Yeah, I have been in teams. I have been doing this a couple of years, of course. So maybe the maturity of most companies is better now, but I have been in teams that there are no UXers at all. And for example, low code applications, those are built so quickly. They just have an idea, and it's already built. And then the UX, it should be built in the application itself, because it's low code is building blocks. So the UX should already be in there. But yeah, actually, it's not always there. It's more, you have to take more steps sometimes in low code than you do when you have an application built in code. So yeah, I think it does occur that there's no UX at all, and then UX testing, as we as testers should take that spot and not forget the user. Yeah, does it answer your question?
Well, it sounds like we could have this conversation for a while, because y'all are brilliant and just amazing leadership, Kimberly. Tara, I know a lot of people are wrapping up here, and I know it's late in your part of the world, Kimberly. Tara, any closing messages for our viewers?
Oh gosh, other than thank you so much, Kimberly, and everybody that came. This has been absolutely amazing. I know that she's sparked a real passion in me to learn more about UX and accessibility. So I think my final question would be, are there cheat sheets for those of us that are just getting started?
Yeah, good one. I have given this presentation a couple of times already. So you can also look me up, Kimberly Snoyl, UX testing and agile teams, and you will find also how do you say it, recordings of presentations I did. So it's only half an hour, sometimes 45 minutes, but with all these examples of heuristics. So cheat sheet is the 10 heuristics of usability by Dave Nielsen. Yeah, those are just actually rules of thumb of usability, and you can just check the list of your application. Hey, can I find an exit in every page? Do I know that the status of the application is clear on every page, etc., etc.? So yeah, that's a good cheat sheet, usability, the then usability heuristics, and of course, accessibility testing is also very practical. And there are also tips in my presentation, but also on the web of how you can do it, like keyboard accessibility, etc. So yeah, look them up. And yeah, I think those two are most practical tips you can use immediately in your work tomorrow or today,
That's
if it's
awesome.
early today for you.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Kimberly. I know she's got a ton more tips, so make sure you follow her on LinkedIn, Twitter, all those spaces. Do you have any other platforms that you use religiously?
No, actually not.
No, just those two? Okay. That's
I'm also on
easier.
Instagram,
Those
but
are
I
my
don't really
go-to.
use it.
Bless you. Me too. I have a nice empty Instagram. But thank you so much for spending time with us. And I wish we could continue doing this, but I know it's very late and we'll
The
let
time
you
was
go.
set.
And
Yeah. Thank you so much, Tara and Tristan. Sorry, I forgot your name. It's late here.
Oh,
But thank you
we
so much.
adore
And
you.
yeah,
yeah.
I hope you guys learned something, and look me up on LinkedIn. That's the most
Yeah.
used.
Mention Kimberly and us here at Provar, and we'll see if we can pick a winner to get some swag from us. I know we have a great swag box. So
It's true.
if you've learned
what
something,
are they winning?
oh, we've got what are they winning? We've got a swag box full of goodies for them. So if you've learned something today while you're here, make sure you let us know on your socials so we can pick a winner.
Okay, cool.
All right, we're going to wrap up. Again, stay blessed. We appreciate y'all, and come back and see us for our next round, okay? Tara, thanks for hosting, Kimberly, and all y'all. Stay blessed. Mwah.
Have a nice day, everyone. Bye-bye. Thank you.